All right. Thanks to everybody so much for joining me here on this Tuesday evening. I appreciate you being here with me on the live stream, or even if you're tuning in afterwards. Thank you so much for being with me here at One Nation Weather. I really appreciate your support and you watching this. Of course, as we go throughout this, or even if you're watching this after the stream has concluded, you can always put in your zip code down in the chat, or a location, anything you want to get weather information on. And I will cover that for you later on in the stream after we kind of get through the forecasting part. So if you have questions, I really appreciate if your patience and closer to say 8 Eastern, about 10 minutes into the stream, 7 Central, so 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific time. That's when I'll really start diving a little bit deeper into your individual questions that you have. So this is going to be like one of my routine weather live streams, and I appreciate everybody once again who is now on the stream and is joining me, and I see your message in the chat. Severe storm filmer as well, and I will get to that question and address it in not too long from now. Thanks to everybody. If you want to leave a chat message again with that zip code or a location you want to get information on, please do so. That also probably helps maximize the reach on the YouTube algorithm when you leave comments as well, even if it's just to say hello. Let's go ahead and kind of get into this forecast here, and we're kind of taking a look at the GFS model for the near term. Only thing we're really looking at over the next, say, 24 to 36 hours here as I do this stream on your Tuesday night. You can see we've got a little bit of some snowfall impacting parts of interior New England, some areas in the rest of New England as well. A little bit of some clipper activity going on there, but what we're really going to see that's going to begin our next kind of setup of weather, we've got the trough kind of digging down like this, the polar jet stream really just kind of overall diving from parts of Montana all the way on over there towards Virginia, and that's going to be kind of the story. Cooler air through the rest of this week is going to be funneled along that northern tier. The south, which has been cold at times earlier this week or even still right now, is going to begin to warm back on up with time here across a lot of the southern tier of the United States. So we'll kind of continue to watch that, and that's what's going to really help to contribute. You can kind of see a little bit of those greens down there in the south central plains, into parts of the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, then on down there through central South Texas as well. We're going to be watching a low in severe weather throughout Wednesday night going into our Thursday, primarily for the potential of brief large hail around 1 inch in diameter and a few isolated severe thunderstorms, as well as the potential at that point. We'll also be watching for some brief gusty damaging winds around 50 to 60 miles per hour. This doesn't look like a big severe weather threat, but we do have the showers and storms down there nonetheless Wednesday night. This part of the forecast we're still pretty confident in. Some snow trying to exit parts of Montana, move into the Dakotas, and it looks like as we go through the day Thursday, I hinted at this in my latest forecast video, which thanks for the support on that one, by the way. Got over 3,000 views. Really appreciate that. You can see as we go on towards Thursday night going into our early Friday morning, looks like we're going to have a lot going on close to the Gulf Coast in terms of rain and storms, and the northern, directly due north of this on up there, but skipping parts of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana for precipitation. Looks like we might actually get some pretty hefty snow Thursday night going into Friday, and I'll show you those totals here in just a minute. But you can see that area looks like we'll get some snow. That snow band looks like it could connect with that southern and low pressure system sometimes as we go late Friday and into our Saturday. It's going to be a rainy Friday over a lot of the southeast, and the GFS all along Euro kind of has most of the moisture staying confined to mostly the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida out of the system as we go Friday night and into our Saturday, whereas the GFS has even some heavier rain kind of in the merging area between these two systems. This is Friday night going into our Saturday, and then you can see some snowfall pushing through the Great Lakes as well, and some of that, oops, did not mean to turn on the whiteboard screen there, not that, there we go. You can see as we continue to progress there, you can see a little bit of some snowfall as well in interior New England, looking to push out of that probably sometime Saturday going into early Sunday, and then our attention turns to what this thumbnail is, what my most recent video's thumbnail is. Still looks like we're going to get some kind of stronger low pressure system to enter the central United States, the north central United States as well, into early next week. That would probably be Monday when this is really ramping up. Northern and snow, and again, the shield of snow that we're going to get out of this is still a little bit up in the air as to exactly where that's going to be located, how heavy it's going to be, but we certainly know there will be a low up over the upper Midwest sometime as we go into early next week, probably. That's what I've been hinting at for several videos now, actually, and updates and such. And you can see it looks like that system will try to progress eastward, but it's definitely going to impact the central plains the hardest, I think, on up there through the Midwest and the upper Midwest. And again, there is that colder side right now. In March, we're getting a little bit of a surge back of winter here in some isolated communities, so it is really interesting to kind of see how we're getting, these blue lines right here. That's the 540 height line right there. That's where you really start to see the colder air that's in those zones. That's where you get snowfall. Notice the blue lines curl right there. North of those lines, that's where you got the snowfall. South, that's where you got the rain. So what's really interesting is if any of these systems, you can kind of see that cooler air wrapping back around. If you get any sort of precipitation to get going through Missouri and Illinois behind that system into the midweek time frame of next week are kind of in that cold environment. And you could briefly turn over to snow at the tail end of that cold front. So there's definitely some details that we're still kind of unveiling with the future pattern, but I can definitely tell you that it looks very active here over the next several days. Again, with those couple of systems at the end of this weekend, into the weekend I was just showing you, and then into early next week. And what's surprising is that we actually have not too bad of model consensus. Still some things to pick out, but not too bad of model consensus between the two. But what's interesting is once this system begins weakening, that's when we really start to get questioning as to whether something new like this would form, or if it would just be kind of dead behind in that central U.S. bigger storm early next week. But I plan to release a weather video forecast, like just a regular video for our Wednesday evening tomorrow. If everything goes as planned, so hopefully we'll have that, and we'll kind of discuss, in my normal style, kind of the models, the trends that we've got on the way, and all of that. But certainly here, it's definitely looking like the central United States is going to be kind of the zone for this storm to blow up into early next week. But again, it's into this weekend when we get this rain and that snow. The northern tier getting that shot of snow. And the southern end getting some rainfall. And in terms of, let's talk about this. Let's go to our national blend of models here. We're on WeatherBell Maps, free trial link in the description as always. Let's go over to our snowfall total. And you can see kind of what our model blend is projecting here out of snowfall. This is just everything snowfall-wise through the end of the upcoming weekend. Actually, let's just go through Saturday evening. You can kind of see where our heavier snowfall zones are going to be. There's that swath of snow that's going to cross the upper Midwest. And, you look at some of these totals, and you're actually quite impressed a little little bit in the inches, the amount of inches of snow that we're going to kind of get through this region. In fact, let me pull on up the key down here so you can see it at the bottom. Let's turn that on right now. There you go. I mean, if you live in any of those blue areas, you're talking at least a few inches of snow falling out of this. So if you live in the upper Midwest through parts of North Dakota and parts of central Minnesota especially, on through Wisconsin, as well as through a lot of Michigan, and even locally higher totals in the upper peninsula off the lakes there, with the lake effect snow that's ongoing right now as well. A lot of areas getting 3 to 6 inches of snow out of this model average that we're looking at right now, so that's not too shabby. And then you see interior areas of New England as well picking up on some snowfall. Not too bad. Higher elevations will pick up closer to a foot, though, in some cases there on the Tuckahoe Plateau. Interior elevations there and high elevations of parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, central Maine as well on up there towards Caribou, several inches of snow. And then notice we'll add to the snow totals potentially early next week with that snow shield that could be over the upper Midwest as our low moves through the upper Midwest and brings that southern and severe as well. And look at that. You could tack on an additional half foot plus in some areas depending on where this sets up. I wouldn't really focus on where I'm showing that snowfall setting up right now, but I would definitely look at those totals and say, okay, we could really add on some decent snowfall as we go into early next week. So if you live in the northern 1/3 of the country, you're certainly not done with snow. And you can even see model blends trying to force a little bit of that snow kind of on the tail end of the system, trying to force a little bit down here into parts of the even southern zones of the upper Midwest and just the Midwest in general. So there's a lot of different little pieces going on with the pattern, but it looks like as we go through time we could really add up snow, especially in the upper Midwest. And that starts with the snow shot moving through the next couple of days and then into the Northeast. And again, that's going to dump, 2+ inches of snow for pretty much everyone in this blue swath that looks like right here. And local areas through parts of Minnesota. Some of these zones here, Minnesota into Wisconsin, probably pick up close to 6 to 8 inches in a few local communities there. And that does push through places like Minneapolis, through most of Wisconsin, into Michigan and into your Northeast. Again, that's as we go through the end of this week and into the weekend. And then we add to that next week out of that kind of bigger storm system. Now, what that bigger storm system also means, it also means that we're going to be kind of watching the severe weather ingredients. And as we kind of go on over here towards the lightning flash density graphic, let's pull this one up. There we go. Into early next week, it looks like that's when thunderstorm activity could begin to ramp on up. At this point, the European model not quite as bullish as we've seen in past runs, but it certainly looks like, especially in this box I'm about to put on your screen right here, that's where I would be kind of interested in the severe weather potential as we head into next week with that low on up here. But this is certainly going to be properly classified as a winter storm with the amount of snow it could dump over the upper Midwest. And of course the heavy rain stretching all the way on back down closer to the Gulf Coast. That just keep that in mind. By the way, don't forget to like the stream if you're just joining here, new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as well, even if you are an existing subscriber. Just really helps me out here. And don't forget to put that zip code in the chat if you want a localized update. And in fact, that's what we're going to kind of get into here as well. Severe Storm Filmer had the first comment, and it says, "Hello again, ONW. I'm going to be in Hilton Head from the 25th through the 29th. Thinking any chance for some storms." Yeah, I love Hilton Head. Been there multiple times. But let's take a look. If you're still on the stream, just let me know if you are, by the way. But it appears you did. You are. You just left me another message a minute ago. It's kind of early to tell, but it looks like with the degrading remnants to the west of that system that was in the central United States, it's probably you're bound to get something while you're there in Hilton Head. And whether that comes out of the tattered remnants of that through middle of next week, not exactly sure, but look at that. The Euro has a surface low forming pretty much right over Hilton Head, with some heavy rainfall and probably some embedded thunder as well. In fact, we can turn on the lightning product on that here and kind of see what it is showing. Severe weather, lightning flash rate. Yeah, and you can see some showers and storms trying to pop up on the Euro down there. And again, kind of take that with a grain of salt. But it looks like with the average of this active pattern and the impacts that we have out of these multiple storm systems moving on through, I would certainly say your chances are pretty decent of getting some heavy rain and storms down there closer to the coast. And one thing that you might not know as well about about the coast down here in South Carolina, it is always like humid and always trying to get stormy there a lot of the time. And even in the winter, it's hard pressed not to get a little bit of rain probably at some point there, especially as you get into springtime like this. So I would be willing to bet that you'll probably get some sort of showers or storms while you are located there I'm on the beach, but I hope you enjoy your trip when you go. It is certainly a beautiful area to be in. Love it there. Zip code 13431 says Ann Stedman, and I will get to that zip code here just momentarily. Let me pull that on up on my personal end here as well, so I can get you that localized data there. 13431. And I clicked on the wrong one there. Poland in New York. Let's get that pulled on up right now. Anybody else who wants their zip code weather information, let me know. But yeah, in the near-term pattern up there in parts of New York, so it looks like if you're in Poland, New York, looks like you're kind of in the central part of the state near Utica. So let's play this on out there. It definitely looks like you're getting a little bit of snow over the near term here. Nothing too heavy, but definitely some brief snow showers at times. The pattern, we get a break Thursday and into Friday over most of that area, other than some lighter snow showers at times. Then as we go towards the end of Friday going into Saturday, it looks like you're going to get some snowfall up there. You can see that snow band pushing through. That's kind of what I mentioned at the start of the live stream, through north central New York, so the upstate, through most of Vermont and New Hampshire. Those states pretty much getting filled in with the blues and the snowfall there. So I think you're going to get some brief, but pretty decent snowfall on up there. And in fact, we can zoom in on the northeastern United States. Let's do that. And let's take a look at the model blend snowfall. Let's do that. Sorry, I just kind of have to, when I get these individual questions, just kind of have to go area by area and kind of answer them here. Where's the model blend? Come on, find it. Model blend. I always miss it too. There it is, National Blended Models. All right, winter snow totals. Here we go. Here in the near term, just out of these snow showers that you're picking up, say mostly through early, through the end of the day Thursday, mostly through early Thursday. You can see on up there through parts of central New York. And again, I'm kind of looking at your area on a different device here and at your location there near Utica and just north of there. Looks like you're going to be kind of on the edge, kind of right in here of some of those heavier snowfall totals. To your west, though, it's going to be closer to, say, a few inches plus. You're going to be on the edge of it. Looks like a couple of inches possible there. And then you tack on some additional totals out of the late week snowfall, and that comes into the weekend as well. You can see Maine's really going to get the bonus out of that snowfall, but you're going to at least tack on an additional few inches. By the time you're all the way through this weekend up there in places like Poland, New York, looks like you're going to pick up close to about 6 inches of snow if we go off this model blend, which is a pretty accurate representation of what most models are saying. So kind of keep that total in mind for you there, and Stedman. So hopefully that helped you out. Leo the Weather Nerd, hello, welcome onto the stream. I saw your comment, was just answering a question. Don't forget, we're getting some new viewers on here right now. If you are new to the channel, like, subscribe, and leave any comments and questions you have down here in the live chat. Severe Storm Filmer says, does early April look like severe weather for Ohio? It looks like it's going to, the way we're trending right now, it looks like activity is definitely going to start to push northward as we go throughout spring. So I would say that your chances are a little bit higher into April in Ohio. But as we go towards the summer, that's when Climate Prediction Center outlooks are really starting to kind of indicate that into that area as well. That's when we could really start to see things activate. I think your summer is going to be your best bet in Ohio, but I might be wrong, especially for damaging wind gusts in Ohio. That's definitely when it'll peak. Severe Storm Filmer does, and thank you, heard wonderful things about Hilton Head. Yeah, I've been multiple times. It's really fun down there. Enjoy all the different sites and definitely spend multiple times on the beach. It's definitely fun. Misty says hello, and Stedman says thank you. You're welcome, Ann Stedman. Anybody else have zip code questions? Because we're just kind of getting this stream started right now. So if you're just now joining, feel free to drop a question. Misty says, will Missouri get anything late March? Great question, Misty. And let's kind of progress our way back on over to the continental United States. Get away from this individual question here that we had just a moment ago. pull up the models, and I mean, first of all, if I'm in Missouri, my eyes are on next week's storm system, which is you're pretty much getting missed by the worst of activity this week. I mean, you're not really getting anything. You're kind of getting split by the snow to the north, maybe some brief rain showers. Heaviest rain is to the north or south of you, I should say. On down there closer to the Gulf Coast as we head through this week. So you're fine in Missouri here, but as we go, late March here. This is late March that we're entering, and you can see as we go towards early next week, that's when that signal for that bigger storm. This is the same one I was showing on the GFS earlier in the stream, a completely different model, two different ones agreeing. I would say anywhere from Missouri down closer to Louisiana, Mississippi, Monday going into Tuesday, I'd be watching for the severe weather potential to at least elevate a little bit above usual standards for this time of the year. And of course, I'll cover that in future videos, live streams, as well as with my ONW severe scale, of course. So definitely make sure you're staying updated on that. But it definitely looks showery, stormy as we head through the kind of the early to mid part of next week there. And then that kind of wraps on up. What's interesting is I look at this pattern and I look at that blue line coming down like this. That is your line where you basically turn your precipitation from rain to snow. Okay? And I mean, right there, if you still have just enough moisture and precipitation in place into parts of Missouri, I wouldn't rule out that you briefly turn over to snow around midweek next week. I don't see that happening. That's not the likely scenario, but it definitely looks like it'll be heavier snow on up there somewhere through the upper Midwest, just to the north of you by 100 miles or more, or around that or so. And then we'll kind of have to watch how that system develops. The only real certainty we have is that the system's going to be in the central U.S. Best chance for severe weather is going to be down here, and it doesn't look extreme. Snow will be at kind of up in this area. And then the middle ground zones, we're still trying to pinpoint details. And then from there, once you get about east of this line right here, you start to really lose certainty in what the storm is doing, how, when, how strong will it be, all those details. But, considering we're still about 5, 6, 7 days out from this storm, it's not bad that we kind of already know placements and such. Because we know, I was talking about this in the video a couple days ago, the low's going to move from Oklahoma on up into the upper Midwest, it looks like right now. And that's been the trend we've seen on ensembles, on models, and I don't foresee that changing. But again, you can kind of see how this low pressure system is kind of digging its way through the whole pattern right now, or into next week, I should say. Misty, so hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I wouldn't get my hopes up on the snow. Honestly, I shouldn't have even mentioned it for those of you who are snow lovers, because I know a lot of people will get giddy from that. But, I mean, in all honesty, when you get that 540 line curling around like that, I mean, you could get a little snow in there if precipitation and moisture are still in place. Overall, though, it looks like your best chance for snow is in that area I showed earlier in the stream, kind of right up in here. That's definitely where snow looks more likely, and just overall up into that region there. But yeah, don't forget, everyone, put those zip codes in the chat. We'll get to your individual questions as well. But yeah, in terms of rainfall out of this weekend system, and notice on the trends, I do want to point this out with the Euro. It is starting to agree that I give the GFS a point on the system, the early system that we're getting Friday and into Saturday there, the one that I was talking about snow totals up in New York for, etc. Because it had the rain stretching all the way on up here, never had the systems broken, and that's what is likely to play out now, as the Euro is also showing that. So the GFS, I'm always looking for individual instances where one model beats the other, and we're looking at the European right now. I certainly give the GFS credit. I mean, it has been all over this setup overall, since day one of the storm really looking to be possible. Unless the setup changes, the GFS has a point in my mind on this system, because it looks like it's going to be pretty much just a nasty washout over a lot of the southeast Friday, going into Saturday, into the mid-Atlantic as well. Just filthy weather, honestly. Just kind of cool rain, and then snow in the far northeastern part of the system. I mean, here's how much rain the European model's predicting. We're not going to get a major flood event out of this, it doesn't look like. But in some areas there of Florida, we'll be watching the shower and storm threat that could include some brief flooding, especially in the southern part of the state, where totals could locally try to approach 4+ inches. And the same goes there, especially through southern New England, with heavy rainfall threat existing there. Otherwise, this is just a drencher of a system, and other than that, it's just, it's kind of a routine low-pressure system going into this weekend. And again, next week, notice how that precipitation just starts blowing up over the plains, and look at where the Euro is going to show that snowfall going into early next week. Yeah, let's look at that 2-day snowfall blowing on up. And again, it's going to be very localized where this sets up, but if the low tracks like this, that could be easily a foot plus of snowfall in a very quick period of time, right there from Nebraska all the way up there through northern Minnesota. And let's look at what the GFS shows in that exact window of time. And let's pull that up. GFS, thought I clicked it, but maybe it didn't register. And it shows a similar swath, not quite as heavy, and it shows it a little faster too. GFS almost shows everything kind of running on out ahead of the main part of the system, and snow being a little bit, and actually filling a little bit more of an area too up there over the upper Midwest. So if you love snow and you're anywhere in the upper Midwest, I would love to be. If I were you, I would definitely hope that the GFS model comes true on that system. But don't forget, even before that, you're at least going to get a few inches of snow on the ground over a lot of the upper Midwest from this snow swath we're getting in the near term. And again, local areas. This is what that model blend doesn't show you. Local areas picking up 6 to 10 inches of snow in some spots there in the upper Midwest Great Lakes out of this near-term snow swath. So I know I keep jumping between the current, what's going on at the end of this week, and then what's going on next week. Those two storm systems and the two individual pieces of them are the ones that I'm really tracking. So there's a couple of different little individual things I'm watching. But yeah, I'll leave that to Severe Storm Filmer and Misty to decide in the chat whether a derecho is good or not. Severe Storm Filmer Misty, let's just hope not a repeat of 2012. What other zip codes do we have? 27 people on here. Anybody else want kind of a locally catered forecast update information? Because I'm chilling with the stream for another like 20 minutes at least. What other zip codes do we have, everyone? And also don't forget to hit that like button. But again, kind of just rehashing everything. Watching the pieces of this system. Upper Midwest snow swath as we go Thursday night into Friday. That moves through the Great Lakes Friday night into Saturday. It's raining in the southeast simultaneously. Then as we go through the middle part of this weekend, snowing in the interior northeast, raining on the mid-Atlantic coast. That moves out. And then into next week, we're going to be watching this system and where it can dump snow on the northern end, maybe some severe weather on the southern end, as it does look to be a bigger storm system there. And that's kind of the overall pattern that we're watching up ahead right now. Let's see. Ryan Levine says, what about 18428? All right. Let me pull up that on my individual end, and then we will 18428. Everybody pump those zip codes into the chat. Pennsylvania, let's see. Just northeast of Scranton, almost on that New York line right there. Susie Q, I see your zip code. I will be right with you in just a second. So just to kind of talk about your overall weather, Ryan Levine. It's looking like you're going to be on the edge of snowfall as we go into this weekend. It's going to be very close. You're going to be kind of on that rain-snow line, okay? So it's going to be a very close, very, 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 very close call as we go into this weekend for you. We can even take a look at what the European model's showing. It's either going to be kind of a moderate and cold, very cold rain or a little bit of snow, and it looks like you're going to be kind of right on that line. Unfortunately, it looks like it's probably going to be turnover to rain at some point throughout that event there. So it looks like you've got rain on the way. Again, this is as we go in towards our Saturday that we're talking about for you right now. And then that kind of heads on off towards, you might get a little bit of snow, but it wouldn't accumulate to much. And then we've got, where was the question from Susie Q? Oh yeah, 38138. 38138. I've gotcha. Let's get over there now. 38138. Germantown, Tennessee. Thanks to everybody in the chat. I see your comments, Leo the Weather Nerd. Weather with Sim, be with you in just a moment. Thanks so much for leaving those comments. Really appreciate it, everyone. Oh yeah, Germantown, Tennessee. Looks like you're going to be kind of edged by this system as we go Friday and into Saturday. Probably expect as we go through the day Friday and into early Saturday some brief rain showers. Nothing heavy there in Germantown, Tennessee. That moves out. And then our next storm system, have to watch you for potential severe weather Monday going into Tuesday, Susie Q, into next week. But right now, that's a little bit far out to know exactly, but it definitely looks kind of like this. I mean, you can see that, that the overall stronger low pressure system, just the look and feel that you get out of this one. I mean, you're going to have kind of a almost negatively tilted upper trough trying to get going out of this system, okay? So when you get a look like this, where you've got your trough vertically stacked like so, that's when you start to look at fancier low pressure systems. That's why I worry about you there in Germantown Monday going into Tuesday next week. I really don't think you're going to have to panic too much over this system, but that's why I released my first forecast video about this on Sunday, because I definitely think this is going to be something worth watching as we go into early next week. Something that many people should be a little bit more concerned about there. Weather with Sim says, will southern Indiana see severe weather? Leo the Weather Nerd, I'm not ignoring you. I see your longer comments, so I'll get to that in just a moment here. But Weather Sim says, will southern Indiana see severe weather? I don't see southern Indiana getting severe weather in the near term. I mean, southern Indiana's might get a little bit of rain, brief snow, mostly rain it looks like, overnight, late Friday into Saturday. Mostly getting missed between the two pieces, the snowy cold side and the rain side of this kind of two-piece system that we're getting as we go to end this week. And as we go into next week, southern Indiana, with the look of the system, if you get severe weather, it'll probably be late Monday going into Tuesday, potentially. And, timing-wise, if we look at the GFS, it's not too far off the Euro. But it shows a different look to the system, and it's a little bit faster. And it gets that snow on up into Canada faster. The front kind of lingers behind a little bit, and it's not as strong of a trough. So southern Indiana, we're still looking for you, but it looks like it'd be late Monday night and into Tuesday if it were to happen there in southern Indiana. So low-end chances, we'll see if they go up there. Tim McCready, I see your comment. Let's get to you. And you're welcome, Susie Q. 45014. Let's get that zip code. 45014. Everybody keep putting those zip codes in the chat. Thanks to everybody joining me now and doing that. If you want, have any other questions, even someone if you've already put in a zip code, if I didn't answer your question, please ask further. But 45014 should be Hamilton, Ohio area. And looking at that, looks like you're going to get a brief chance for some rain to end this week. And it's not going to be snow in that area. Maybe briefly snow, but some flakes could mix in Friday going into Saturday. It doesn't look like it, though. And then behind that, we get a little bit of a break. It's kind of cooler to go through the end of the weekend. If you get anything, it looks like it would be sometime midweek. You're welcome, Weather with Some. It looks like it would be sometime Tuesday going into Wednesday there in Ohio, if the system holds on enough. But both the Euro and the GFS have this system, the big system next week kind of, and this is something I should have rehashed a little better earlier in the stream. They both kind of have it struggling and even breaking up a little bit at times as it pushes in that direction. So it's going to be very intriguing to me to see whether the system lasts all the way on up into that area. But I mean, again, you still got a little bit of a negatively tilted, a weak one, but a negatively tilted trough. You can still see that vertical look to it right there, and it's actually a couple different little pieces to it, but you can see that there as we go towards the mid to back week part of our Tuesday and into Wednesday next week. So definitely something we're closely monitoring there. And I almost just dropped water on my computer. That would not have been good. Sorry, y'all didn't need to know that. Anyway, Eastern South Dakota, Don Mills says, thanks so much for putting your zip code down there, 57006. I'm going to put that into my program on the side here just to make sure I've got kind of your more exact location. Ooh, that is the wrong one. Brookings, South Dakota. Let's get you. Yeah, so literally east central South Dakota. And that's where you're looking at the snow side of things, okay? And things are going to be really interesting. First of all, in that area, you've got a chance for, and I'm just talking about precipitation. If you want individual information on snow or anything of that nature, um, snow totals, in terms of temperatures as well. We'll talk about those if you ask that individually as well. Looks like through eastern South Dakota, you're going to be close to this near-term snow swath. A brief light to moderate accumulation, probably not more than a few inches in most cases, and especially in eastern South Dakota out of what's coming Thursday and into Friday. That moves out. And then as we go into next week, your big snow potential exists in that area, especially with this kind of setup you see from the European model right here. And again, we're still trying to pinpoint those details, but if you get that snow swath to set up heavily light just like that, that would put you right in that target zone for brief, but very heavy snow that could even wrap around the system for more than about even 24 hours in some cases. So I call it brief. It might not even quite be brief. If you're looking at the European model, it is definitely bullish with the snow totals out of that. Look at how much would add on up there right in eastern South Dakota. I mean, that's around a foot. I don't think that's going to happen personally. But I'll let you know if that changes, because it certainly is, starting to, the chances increasing a little bit. But Tim McCready says Ross, Ohio. I believe I was in like the Hamilton area of Ohio just a minute ago when I put that pin in. So I think I covered you just a second ago. In Fairfield, Ross. I don't see Ross on. Yeah, there's Ross. So I kind of got your overall area just a minute ago. It's looking like you're going to be kind of skimmed with some brief rain to end this week. And then into early next week, we'll see if that system impacts you Tuesday and into Wednesday with minor impacts as well over that area. Still got 20 people watching. We're going on for a little while longer here. So please like the stream, share it, all that fun stuff to get this information out to more individuals as well. Will it be severe? You're welcome, Don Mills, for eastern South Dakota. Tim McCready, will this storm next week be severe? I don't think it's going to be too bad by the time we get past Tuesday. Personal opinion, and let me show you why. Look at this. This is the Euro. Look at how it kind of falling apart. But what's interesting is it's still kind of in the thunderstorm area of this system. So if there's any thunderstorms left, it might impact you Tuesday and into Wednesday. Probably not severe. Tim McCready. But, I mean, the GFS also shows a weakening band. And look at that. It even tries to form a new low to just try to revamp that system because it's not even that strong at that point. So unless this thing can sustain itself past the Central Plains, I really think most of our severe weather threat's going to be in this zone, kind of Monday going into Tuesday, and then we'll see it slowly die on off eastward from there. But other areas south and eastward, we'll still have to watch it. So the answer to the will it be severe question, the answer is probably not. Oh no, that's terrible, Misty. Don't forget, if you're just joining me and enjoying my commentary live streams, want to get weather videos and streams in the future, hit that subscribe button. New to the channel, hit the like as well. Or even if you're just watching as an existing subscriber. What other zip codes do we have? I am free to answer your questions. What other weather zip codes or location zip codes do we have for everyone here? Man, that GFS is bullish with that snow falling up there. Jeez. Look at that. Early next week, it is just bullish up there. Really trying to dump some heavy snow. Still got around 20 to 30 people watching. What are those zip codes questions do we have? We've kind of discussed most of the snow and severe weather side to our upcoming systems. I do want to briefly point out here and go over to the Storm Prediction Center graphic. Wednesday, with this little system riding in the southern U.S., I'm not impressed by this. I'm not impressed by this severe weather potential. That much. Brief wind and hail. Okay, so be prepared. Just turn on the cities. Amarillo to Woodward. San Antonio to Houston and Corpus Christi in Texas as well. Wednesday. I'm not too impressed by that. And then it'll kind of go along the Gulf Coast into our Thursday. Got a question mark from Misty in the chat. Did I say something confusing? I might have. Let me know if I did. Leo the Weather Nerd looking for a good website builder currently for that idea you had. Yeah, I see it now. Let me go back up to that. I'm sorry, I got so busy answering all those questions I missed your message. I really apologize for that. My bad, man. Let's look at that. Yeah, that's really cool. Pretty cool idea. If you get that started, let me know. Looks like really cool stuff that you could be working on there. You're welcome, Tim McCready. Glad to help you. Weather with Sim says, I know next week might not be as severe, but as we head into the beginning of April, severe weather appears likely. Climate Prediction Center, 3 to 4 week temperature and precipitation outlooks. I mean, with ridging in the east, yeah, I see why that could be a concerning outlook for sure. I want to click on this and blow it up a little for bigger. Yeah, I mean, with ridging in the southwest and cooler air there, or excuse me, with what did I just say? Ridging, troughiness more here. Definitely, you could get a little cooler air pushing on out like that, kind of like what we're seeing with next week's system. Get that warm air pull out ahead of it. Yeah, that's pretty interesting outlook going into the start of April already out of that, and with precip above average too. I agree with you, Weather with Some. I think things are only going to pick on up. By the way, that leads me into, if any of you have not watched my spring tornado forecast outlook, you can go on over to the videos tab and watch that. I think it was about maybe 10 videos ago, or released it a few weeks ago. And it's more like 15, 20 videos ago. I released probably too many videos. Too many for me to count. But yeah, thanks for the support on that video, everyone, as well. Really appreciate everybody's support through the winter and into spring here. Really helping me out on the channel, pursuing a passion I love. It means a lot to me. But yeah, I got you, Leah, the Weather Nerd. And it's a really cool idea you got there. Go back on over to this. Just sit here. Any other zip codes and questions here on the stream? I'm chilling. I am chilling here and will answer any questions you got. Again, I'm hoping to get a weather video regular forecast out tomorrow, Wednesday, March 20th, to kind of hone in more on the upcoming systems. Also, if you are an existing subscriber or even someone new, let me know how you like the recent thumbnail shift that I just did for my most recent video, a couple of videos, and then this live stream as well, with some of the white bordered black arrows instead of white arrows with black borders. You can, if you want to, you can kind of go back on out to the videos tab briefly and look and kind of see. Let me know if you like them. Seems like they're a little bit more of a success already, but I don't know. That's just my personal thought. Zip codes in the chat, everyone? Leo the Weatherner, do you have any tips for making good thumbnails? So one thing I've learned while making thumbnails, I've been doing thumbnails. I mean, I've been doing this for about a year now, so hopefully I have enough expertise to help you with this question. First of all, don't not make a thumbnail. Let's put it that way. So don't just pick one of the ones YouTube auto generates based on what's in your video. You always want to have some sort of thumbnail. So that's number one. You find a basic like design platform. You don't have to have anything fancy, but just something to generate more click-through rate. I would pick something like when I was starting out, especially with my thumbnails, I used Canva. I don't sponsor them or anything. I just recommend them. Canva. So you can use theirs. It's very good, free. There's even a pro version as well for making the thumbnails. I generate my text and I play with it in Google Slides and my photo editor as well. So that's another thumbnail tip I have. But there's a lot of free different things you can do for free to help you make your thumbnails. But practice is going to make perfect. I mean, if you have extra time right now, you say you're on spring break right now, it's not a bad idea to just sit down and practice for a couple hours, play with different things, pull different model graphics and try to add text and add colors and such. I think in the last few weeks I've developed a little bit more of a thumbnail brand almost that kind of fits my channel more with the font I've picked, and I'm hoping to use that for an extended time now. And I'm hoping the new type of thumbnails I've been making the last couple of weeks, they kind of look unique to me. So that's kind of my tips for you, Leo the Weather Nerd, with thumbnails. But, have fun with it, too. And, you pick kind of what you desire with your thumbnails. But it normally takes me a solid 30 minutes to make one. Even after, like right now. Sometimes longer when I'm experimenting with new stuff. Thumbnails can take me almost as long as it takes me to actually make the video before I record it. So, long story short, kind of just fiddle around with stuff, and you'll really improve your thumbnail making ability just by practicing. My photo editing program's Affinity Photo, and I get my thumbnail maps from Trilogy Maps. You're welcome. Still got a good bit of viewers on here. Drop those zip codes in the chat if you're just now joining me. Or if you already have put a zip code, ask further questions. I have no problem with it. Feel free to ask and I'll answer. Your lawyer says, I heard there's going to be some severe storms next week. Could you maybe provide some insight into it? And heck yeah, I'll provide insight into that. That's exactly what this channel is. For sure. Great question. Or great comment, I should say. Basically, next week, this is the system of interest right here. And I see it developing over the upper Midwest Sunday night going into Monday. The earliest we see severe weather is probably going to be through the day Sunday. And we'll kind of watch this zone here. This is going to be somewhat into the warm sector. But if we kind of take a look at, I think we can use ensembles to do this as well. Probabilities, moisture. Sorry, I'm still kind of getting used to this. And let's just go back to that, the GFS for a second here. And use surface moisture. I've only had WeatherBell for just about a month and a half now, so I'm still kind of getting the hang of it. Notice that warm sector pushing north. There's the GFS. If I duplicate this tab and we head on over and look at it with the Euro, we're going to get kind of a similar deal. Look at this. So as we go late Saturday and into Sunday, here we go. There we go. This is around the same time, I think. Let's go back. Around, midday Sunday. Let's go to the middle of the afternoon. Notice we've got this warm sector beginning to push north with dew points in the 50s, the 60s. Here's the difference between the two models. They're pretty in check. At this point, we're going to have troughing in the east still behind our most recent low. And that's those systems that's impacting the southeast with rain, and then the interior northeast with snow to end this week and go into the weekend. But, we're going to get this moisture return. So the earliest you see severe weather is Sunday afternoon. If we look at the European model's lightning flash rate, you can definitely see some development trying to happen there. Sunday night going into Monday there. This would probably encompass parts of mostly Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, especially the high plains as well, I think, and the central plains during that time frame. It looks like if progression continues, it would try to trek through parts of the south central. As of now, with the look, even though this has a strong negatively tilted trough on the European model's look, it doesn't really show much thunderstorm activity sustaining, as the storm system kind of, you'll notice the weakening of it kind of quickly there as it falls into tatters as it heads towards the upper Midwest. So again, while it has the potential for heavy impacts, I think if we're going to get severe weather, it's going to be kind of in here during the Sunday night through Tuesday early morning time frame. Probably the highest threat would be back in here somewhere. I don't see a major severe weather event coming out of this as of now, but storms have surprised me recently, so I don't want to put this down for anyone right now and just say it's not going to happen. But I mean, you see this look to the system. With the low going like this, your cold front is completely really sweeping around this low. I mean, you can see the tail end of that thunderstorm line like so. I mean, once you get your line pushing directly southwest and northeast, that's because you've got a vertically tilted negative trough over the central U.S. So anywhere, even into parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, the mid and lower Mississippi Valley, I think as we go Monday and into Tuesday, it's fair game for brief severe weather. So if I had to sum this up, your lawyer, I would really say the threat is overall low to medium. If it's going to impact areas, it's probably going to be through this region primarily, and it's going to be a little bit more dispersed than I think our most recent severe outbreak, based on what I see right now. And again, I'll kind of let you know if that changes as we get closer, as we'll have continued updates and such. Hopefully that answered your question, though. And provided insight. And then maybe, by the way, the event maybe will continue Tuesday night into Wednesday if it is even an event. But it really depends on how strong this low remains. Notice how the heavy rain looks to kind of weaken as it heads towards the north and east. Any other zip codes, questions from anyone? Zip codes, questions? Let's see. Yeah, crickets. No more questions right now, Leo the Weather Nerd. I agree. Come on, someone give me a zip code. Keep me occupied. Someone give me a question. If we don't get any further questions in the next few minutes, I guess we'll kind of wrap up the stream. But if I keep getting questions, I'll keep it going for at least another 10-15 minutes. I don't know what I'm doing. 29605. Leo the Weather Nerd felt really bad for me, and he's put in a zip code now. I gotcha. Let's go on over now. I've got you. Greenville, SC. And I mean, here in South Carolina, it's going to be some rain Friday, late day, especially through Friday night and into Saturday. Probably a couple inches possible. Maybe some minor flooding in some localized areas. That moves out. Obviously, no snow. And then next week we'll watch that system, kind of, especially as we go towards Tuesday, Wednesday. But it looks like it'll be breaking up in that area at that point. There's that colder side up there, warmer side right here. And again, it's still kind of got that negative tilt to it, in a way, and at least in a weak way. But yeah, looks like the viewership's pretty much going on the decline here. Thanks, I had around about 40 people at the peak times in this stream, about 20 to 35 people fairly consistently. So thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in this live stream update. Don't forget to go and join me on that eclipse video I did yesterday, where I discussed how the weather could actually impact your viewing of this 2024 solar eclipse that's upcoming. Check out my most recent weather video from a couple days ago. That was a forecast discussion. Should have another one of those either tomorrow, probably tomorrow, a forecast discussion. So also look forward to that. So there's definitely some new content to be looking forward to or view right here on the channel. Thanks for keeping the zip codes private. Yeah, I pull them up on Radar Omega on the side, so it drops a pin, but only I see the pin. See ya, Leo the Weather Nerd. Have a good night. You're welcome, Ann Stedman. Thanks so much for joining me this evening. I'm glad I could help you on the live stream here as I continue kind of building the channel. Feel free to share this out with family and friends. I will still answer zip code questions even after this stream ends, for anyone who can get on here and just type up a regular message afterwards. But that is going to kind of conclude this stream, everyone. Again, I'll see you in new content probably tomorrow, which is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. So look forward to that. But that's it for now. Y'all have a great night.